I signed up to do be one of the better fucking jobs there is, or one of the best. Like, I want to fucking prove that shit. So, I joined the Army in 2003. It was 2 years after the terror attacks. I went to college for a little bit to go and kind of be a teacher. And my twin was like, hey, I think I'm gonna go to the Army. And I was like, I'll go with you, kind of do our thing or serve our country. But we're from such a small town, a small area. Like, if you don't leave, you're never leaving, you know what I mean? So it was a chance to get out and kind of see the world. I did the whole infantry thing, and then we both actually I went to selection before he did for Green Berets, and then he went like a couple months after, so he does the Green Beret thing now. I think the biggest thing was just like, I'd never really traveled anywhere. I think the furthest place I'd ever been was like Florida for like a vacation once. I was used to getting yelled at. My grandfather didn't take shit, you know what I mean? Like 6 years old, like, grab that fucking 40-gallon game bucket. Like, you can't move that shit, like, don't fucking spill any of it. Honest but fucking fair dude, you know what I mean? He loved you, but like, you were gonna fucking work. And like, that was one of the things, like when you were done for the day, like, it would be like, hey, go grab you boys go grab you like a pop, which was like an RC, and that was like the best reward in the fucking world, like, worth it. So I went to basic, and then I did 3 weeks of airborne school, and then pretty much I ended up in Georgia. But 07, 08 timeframe, there was still stuff going on, but it was more winding down because they had the surge and everything. But 05, it was still like free gun, like, hey, like ROE is pretty much like out the fucking window, like cell phones, you got binos, like it's game on. Yeah, you had up armored Humvees and shit, but like we were riding around, from positions in the back of like open fucking back MRE, pickups. Shit, finally then fucking IEDs and stuff are picking up, and then you're literally getting engaged on the daily, and you're like, all right, I think at one point we're driving on a patrol and an IED went off, and it went off a little too early. Some shrapnel hit the front of the Humvee. Dust and shit's like blowing in there and everything, and everybody's coughing, I'm in the gunner's hatch, and I just laughing, you know what I mean? Like, that point you're like, fuck it, dude, if you're gonna do this, you might as well fucking take me off. Oh yeah! That was like, you know what, like, this is it, and I enjoyed every fucking minute of it. I love everything about it, like, you can, when shit goes down, like, your training kicks in, you can almost understand, like, hey, I already know, like, where my teammate's gonna move to and what he's gonna do, and I already, like, you're basically 2 to 3 steps ahead of, like, how you're gonna do this and how it's gonna play out. I mean, it's just like it's a fucking chess game. Yeah, is it nice to, like, go out and not have shit happen sometimes? Yeah, of course, but, like, you don't want every day to be like that. Like, what's the fucking point? I signed up to do, be one of the better fucking jobs there is, or, one of the best. Like, I wanna fucking prove that shit. I don't go to the range to fucking spend, 5,000 rounds in a fucking day to not go shoot at real shit later on. You can shoot paper all fucking day. There's a difference when shit's moving though. It's fun. We were on a side-by-side in Panjwai in Afghanistan, November 2013. It was still kind of the Wild West out there, especially further west. Because it was either intermittent checkpoints or there weren't any checkpoints at all. So we were slowly pushing, east from the Kandahar area, establishing like a foothold and putting in checkpoints. We all made the conscious decision to, or voted, I guess if you would, to take side-by-sides out. To have, fire superiority and a means of, Kazovac back to the trucks. So like we were pretty much, no contact leading up to that or anything like that. But we were pretty much done with the whole patrol. Like coming back, and I could literally see the fucking MRAPs and shit and the trailers, like probably 400 meters away. And the next thing I knew, like I was in fucking Texas. Like I woke up in Texas. Apparently, like EOD had missed it and everything. Everybody had walked across it, but it must have just, the side-by-side must have just been too heavy, and it had set it off. So I woke up in Texas. I'm probably in the hospital for a couple weeks because like you're kind of out of it, And then I was kind of like, you know what? Pretty sure there was other people with me. And I asked my wife, I was like, hey, like how is everybody else? And she's like, well, Cody had like a brain injury. He was on the back standing up on the Mark 44 and he had flown off and like 15 meters and like punctured his skull on the other 240 barrel. And then Rich, who was in the passenger seat, he was our other Bravo. It had went off under him and basically had blown him 30 meters out and kind of severed him in half. And then I flew like another 15 out into a ditch. And like basically from apparently I told the medic like, hey bro, I can't feel my hand. and they said it was like hamburger meat from like the elbow down, and then mid shin was like 90 degrees the wrong way it should be. But you know, I told her, when I asked her, I was like, where are we at? And she told me that Rich had died. And that kind of hurt a lot, because like me and Rich was like, when I got to the team, I was like one of the newest dudes. So like that team had been together, you know, you got dudes that have been there like 6 or 7 years. So being like the new guy kind of fucking sucks. But then like Rich came, so like me and him were like bro migos, you know what I mean? So we hung out a lot, and he was really close with my family. So that was kind of hard to deal with. I'm not one of those people that has survivor's guilt. Obviously it's fucking horrible that Rich died, but like I feel like in my mind, like he knew what he was getting himself into, and even if he had survived, it wouldn't have been a way to live, especially as bad off as he was. So I try to just do shit that I feel like would respect his memory. Continue to live life, continue to keep doing shit, and just like set the standard for how shit should be. I had a couple dark days, I think, in the beginning, because for me, I think it was just realizing like my career as an SF dude was over. You know, something I had worked so hard for. Like, what the fuck? How the fuck do I take care of you know what I mean? Like, I have a wife and a kid. Like, how the fuck do I take care of them? So I was like, holy shit! And all I know is I'm probably getting a goddamn wooden leg. You know, I don't know what the fuck's out there. I kind of just started from that point. Like, instead of just getting beat down about it, I just started making goals, and then I actually started like working out's like my passion. You know what I mean? And it's always a big part of your job. You know, whether in the military or as a first responder, etc. And so with my twin, I started just taking that and looking like, how can I work out? You know, like looking at adaptive like athletes, like in the Paralympics, like how do they train? And I'm like, not seeing a whole lot of stuff for like people with no, like, you know, missing an arm and stuff, like a below elbow. Yeah, you know, they make attachments and shit for that. But above, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this better. I was like, you know what? My first goal is like, this dude took like 7 years to get back in shape and like run a Tough Mudder or whatever. Like, cool, like I'm gonna do that shit in a year. And I actually did one like 10 months later. That was why, I guess my way of dealing was just setting up goals. And so then I just every time one would come, I'd just keep making more, like keep running more races. You know, going into rehab, I got to see like all the prosthetics and see how shit worked. And I had a really good physical therapist named Fred, who was like an old retired lieutenant colonel. Such a hard ass, I loved him. But he would let me do whatever. Like, hey Fred, this is what I want to do on a race. Okay, like that's fine. So we just did it. So I ran a bunch of races with my wife. And then like when we were moving home, I was like, I just want to start a gym, because that's, you know, I'm not even, I'll be 34 next month. Too young to be retired. I just can't sit around. So she let me chase my dream, and now we do this shit together. I chose to be part of the Lionhearted project just because I think it's awesome, you know, in the fact that like we were talking about earlier, it's true to like what it actually is. It's not like scripted questions. It's not like you're not trying to paint like a false narrative. Like you're literally getting different insights from like different veterans, you know, across service, you know, across, you know, MOSs and everything like that. And they're getting to tell a little piece of who they are. So I think that people are going to get a real grasp of like how it really is for everybody. It's not like the same mentality across the board. You know what I mean? And I think people are going to get a real insight into that. And, you know, I mean, maybe somebody will fucking learn from it, or maybe like future generations, you know, as far as people that are going in the service are going to learn from it, and maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody will get like some new techniques, you know, to help people that have, you know, mental issues from it. You know what I mean? Like maybe new breakthroughs will come with it.